One of the important questions that you will be asking in a commercial property is due diligence. When you want to buy a commercial property, due diligence is something that you have to do thoroughly. This is not a residential property, because in residential property all you have to do is that building and pest inspection, and as long as that is good and pretty much you get the finance, you can buy. So as a due diligence part, as part of your due diligence into residential property is very negligible, it is very small. Whereas in commercial property there are a lot of other factors that you have to consider. Building and pest inspection is the least thing that you would be bothered about commercial property. In fact, yeah, you will bother, but not as much as the other stuff. The number one thing that you would be looking into in a commercial property is the lease. How strong is the lease? Because if the lease is not strong, if you see that there is a chance that the tenant is going to move out, then your next question would be, okay, if the tenant moves out, then what can I do? How much rent would I get if I have to find another tenant? What's the tenant incentives do I have to provide to attract a new tenant? These are the questions that you will be asking. On the other side, if the lease is strong, then of course that gives a lot of weightage of buying that commercial property. The next one that you have to look into is called tenant. It's not only about lease, who are the tenant? If the tenant is strong enough, particularly if it is a national tenant or international tenant or a tenant where they have multiple branches, that means that these tenant who are the business people, they are running the business from that premise, they know what they are doing. If you have like 5, 10 or 20 different branches, they are like a big national tenant, right? Because they know what they're doing. So what you need to look into to see them, that how they are doing business. If the tenant is strong, that itself gives a lot of weightage of the property. I would rather buy a property, just an apple to apple comparison, is the good tenant versus a tenant whom I don't even know. They are just like a single mom and dad kind of investor. The next one also that as part of your due diligence you need to see is the tenant's business. What business they are in. Because if you see that business is thriving, that is going to go faster, and that is, you see that in 5 years, 10 years down the line, that business is always going to thrive, then it's a good property for you to buy, because even though the tenant moves out, another similar tenant will be able to take that place, because of that the business, similar business can run it. Simple example, if it is a fish and chips shops, even though the current tenant wants to move out, another one will come in, because there is a lot of foot traffic already. Perhaps those businesses were running for longer time, so somebody would be able to take it. Now the question that you will be asking is that when you do this due diligence, you also need to see that this business is actually profitable, this business actually making money, so that you know that if they move out, then there would not be any problem. Another one, it will be easily fit in. On the other side, if they're not doing the good business, if they're actually in loss, then that's how there will be red flag, which is why due diligence is so important. Now there are other things also you need to check about: the risk matrix, how much rent, that future rent that is going to come, what's the kind of building and pest inspection says, that is there is any roof issues. It could be quite a bit of checks that you have to do as part of your due diligence, and which is why if you have never done these things, I strongly recommend to find out somebody who has done this, who did this many times. That way it will actually help you to understand and basically handhold you and make that transaction possible. If you don't know what you're doing, remember, commercial property can give you a lot of issues later, if you know that, if you can dodge those which are not so great properties, and that is good for you. So one thing that you understand is that if you want to buy commercial property, you need to do a thorough due diligence, and as long as you do the thorough due diligence, and if you pass the due diligence, then only you'll buy that property. If it doesn't pass, you're better to walk away and get your deposit back. So I hope you find this video helpful. If you like this video, consider subscribing my channel, turn the notification bell on, so you get to see more videos like this, and it also helps me to reach out to more people like you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.